Chapter 41, 3rd Place. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Defeat. Chen Xiaofeng roared violently, and all the energy in his body was mobilized by him. At the same time, he turned the big knife in mid-air and slashed hard at Lin Chen. It was obvious that this knife combined all his strength. Seeing this scene, Lin Chen showed no fear on his face, and the sword power in his body was released, hiding in the stainless steel sword and rushing towards Chen Xiaofeng. Suddenly, an extremely fierce aura erupted from the fine steel sword, and the disciples who were closer changed their colors slightly. Boom. Pft. The next moment, Lin Chen's body glowed with a faint bronze light, and he took a few steps back with a calm expression. Chen Xiaofeng, on the other hand, suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. He staggered back more than 10 steps, his face extremely pale. Make a decision. Wow! After a moment of silence, the whole square suddenly became noisy. Chen Xiaofeng, who ranked 3rd in the outer sect, was defeated by a warrior at the late 6th level of the body refining realm. In addition to the top 3 disciples from the outer sect, there are also several hidden masters at the 8th level of the body refining realm. These people are probably not much different in strength from Chen Xiaofeng, but now that Chen Xiaofeng is defeated, doesn't it mean that this disciple at the late 6th level of the body refining realm may be the top 3 in the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain this time? The warrior who leapfrogged the 8th level of the body refining realm. When did the outer sect produce such a genius? Geniuses like this have been unknown before. Just to compete for the top 3, many disciples took a deep breath and discussed in low voices, but when everyone was shocked, they suddenly heard a burst of laughter. Lin Chen, you really did not disappoint me. In the entire outer sect, only a genius like you is worthy of being my opponent. I'll be waiting for you in the inner sect. As the voice fell, a huge coercion erupted not far from Lin Chen, covering the entire square in an instant. Huh! Lin Chen has been with Xue Lingyun during this period. Xue Lingyun is in the early stage of Tiangang realm, so Lin Chen is very familiar with the pressure of Tiangang realm warriors. At this moment, the pressure that erupted in the square was much weaker than Xue Lingyun's, but it was not too far behind. Feeling this pressure, Lin Chen couldn't help but shrink his eyes and follow the sound. The warriors around him also turned their heads and looked at the person who made the sound. Then he saw Yuan Fei holding a big knife a few hundred meters away from the gate and looking at Lin Chen with a smile. The huge coercion just erupted from Yuan Fei. Seeing this scene, all the disciples couldn't help but take a deep breath. Early stage of the 9th level of body refining realm, some disciples couldn't help but exclaimed, with deep horror in their voices. Many disciples are elites in the outer sect, and those with the weakest cultivation are at the 7th level of the body refining realm. They practice hard every day and know that the higher the cultivation level, the more difficult it is to break through. However, Yuan Fei is at the advanced level. Not long after reaching the peak of the 8th level of the body refining realm, his cultivation level broke through again and he was promoted to the early stage of the 9th level of the body refining realm. What is even more shocking is what Yuan Fei said. Lin Chen, the warrior at the late 6th level of the body refining realm who defeated Chen Xiaofeng, was actually Lin Chen. But isn't he at the early stage of the 6th level of body refining realm? Some time ago, the battle between Lin Chen and Mao Yang caused an uproar throughout the outer sect. Many outer sect disciples knew the name Lin Chen, and many people had even investigated Lin Chen's information. But a few days ago, Lin Chen was clearly at the early stage of the 6th level of the body refining realm. How come he was now at the late stage of the 6th level of the body refining realm? If not, how could Yuan Fei say such a thing? In a few days, he broke through from the early stage of the 6th level of the body refining realm to the late stage of the 6th level of the body refining realm. This cultivation speed is like flying on a rocket. Everyone looked at Lin Chen in horror, their eyes filled with disbelief. Bang 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 bang. At this moment, a sudden silent crashing sound came. Yuan Fei raised the big knife in his hand, laughed and slashed several knives around him. Every time the knife fell, there was a dull sound. In the blink of an eye, several warriors at the 8th level of the body refining realm gathered around him. All were repulsed. Lin Chen, I will definitely learn from you someday. After repelling several warriors surrounding him, Yuan Fei laughed, jumped into the door, and disappeared in an instant. There was a brief silence in the square. The next moment, everyone was excited, and the first place fell into the hands of Yuan Fei. But at the same time, Yuan Fei rushed out of the door first, which immediately stimulated everyone. Go away. The top 10 are mine. A disciple roared. Fight. In an instant, the entire square became even more chaotic. The disciples were fighting crazily, trying to get out of the gate first. Not far from the door, several warriors at the 8th level of the body refining realm looked at each other with fear, and then looked at Lin Chen warily. Lin Chen defeated Chen Xiaofeng and naturally took over his position, becoming one of the most powerful competitors in the top 3. Damn it, Lin Chen came out of nowhere. He's so strong. One of several warriors at the 8th level of the body refining realm looked at Lin Chen with an ugly expression. It is Pei Liangping who is second in the outer sect. Pei Liangping is at the 8th level of the body refining realm, second only to Yuan Fei in strength. Originally, before Yuan Fei had made a breakthrough, he could still compete with Yuan Fei for first place, but at this moment, Yuan Fei suddenly burst into the body refining realm. The initial strength of the 9 levels firmly suppressed him, and he was hopeless for the first place. Unable to grab the first place, Pei Liangping took a back seat and prepared to win the second place. However, there were several warriors who were in the middle stage of the 8th level of the body refining realm, watching him with eager eyes, especially Lin Chen. He knew very well that Chen Xiaofeng was ranked 3rd in the outer sect, so there was no doubt about his strength. There were not many who were better than him in the outer sect. However, Chen Xiaofeng was defeated by Lin Chen, and judging from Lin Chen's appearance, it seemed that he still had some strength left. With such strength, no one would believe Lin Chen if he said he didn't want to compete for second place. Pei Liangping regards Lin Chen as his biggest competitor for second place. As for the others, although they are all very strong, there is no doubt about Pei Liangping's ability to rank second in the entire outer sect. Pei Liangping looked at Lin Chen, and Lin Chen also looked at him. In an instant, their eyes were filled with blazing fire, full of gunpowder. The second one is mine. After a moment of silence, Pei Liangping roared violently, moved his legs, and rushed towards the door. Choke. The moment Pei Liangping's body moved, Lin Chen's body also started to move. He stepped on Qinyan steps, leaving several afterimages of the stainless steel sword in his hand in mid-air, and stabbed Pei Liangping's body with one sword. Seeing this situation, Pei Liangping couldn't help but paused, raised one leg and swept over, roaring, broken mountain leg. His legs were thick and calloused, and he was obviously a master of legwork. His leg swept out with great force. In an instant, they intersected with Lin Chen's stainless steel sword. Then, with a bang, the two of them took a few steps back at the same time. They were evenly matched, and no one had the upper hand, but seeing this, Pei Liangping's face couldn't help but darken. His kick just now was so powerful that it would definitely injure an average 7th level warrior of the body refining realm, but Lin Chen easily caught it. What's more important is that if we continue to delay here, other disciples will get ahead of the two of them and take away the second place. Thinking of this, Pei Liangping couldn't help but soften his expression and said, Lin Chen, it's hard for the two of us to decide the outcome, so why not just let it go? As for the second place, if you are willing to give up fighting with me, I will give you 500 of low-grade spiritual stones. If it were other disciples who heard Pei Liangping's conditions, they might actually agree. After all, Pei Liangping is the second-best master in the outer sect and has great potential. If he promised him not only a favor from him, but also 500 low-grade spiritual stones, why not do it? However, Lin Chen shook his head slightly and said with a faint smile, if you give up fighting with me, I will give you 1,000 low-grade spiritual stones. Lin Chen does not lack hundreds of spiritual stones. What he lacks is high-level elixirs like Earth Spirit Pill and high-level skills. What's more, with the strength to compete for second place, how could Lin Chen give up for hundreds of spiritual stones? After hearing Lin Chen's words, Pei Liangping's face instantly turned gloomy to the point of dripping water. Lin Chen, you are looking for death. Pei Liangping roared angrily, with a scowl on his face. Without saying a word, his true energy surged in his body, his thighs glowed with a faint white light, and he swept several legs towards Lin Chen. Judging from his appearance, he used all his strength in each of the several kicks he struck. Aha! Lin Chen's body shook, and a bronze light suddenly appeared on his skin. At the same time, the sword power in his body was released, hidden in the stainless steel sword, and stabbed towards Pei Liangping's thigh. Boom! Pei Liangping only felt a strong force coming from Lin Chen's stainless steel sword. Even though he had deep cultivation and strong strength, his thighs couldn't help but feel numb at this moment, and his body took a few steps back. Lin Chen's expression also changed several times, and his body violently stepped back. However, when Pei Liangping stepped back, he kicked off his other foot, spun around in a circle, and ran straight towards the door. Lin Chen, just wait for me. Pei Liangping roared, and his body completely disappeared into the door. Seeing this, Lin Chen couldn't help but shake his head slightly. After all, Pei Liangping's cultivation level was much higher than him, otherwise how could the second place be taken away by Pei Liangping? However, Lin Chen didn't feel any pity. Being able to get a place in the top 10 was a surprise to Lin Chen. After all, Lin Chen originally just wanted to break through the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain and successfully enter the inner gate. What's more, the reward for third place is also very rich. As for Pei Liangping's threat, Lin Chen pretended not to hear it. As time goes by, he will only push Pei Liangping far away. By then, Pei Liangping will not be his opponent at all, and his threats will be nothing more than empty words. The square was still in chaos. When many disciples saw that Pei Liangping had taken second place, they couldn't help but become more ruthless and march forward crazily. Boom! With one punch, he knocked back an 8th-level middle-level warrior of the body refining realm who wanted to compete with him for third place. Lin Chen stepped on Qinyan's step and rushed through the door in the blink of an eye. Lin Chen was about to take a breath when he suddenly discovered that there was a square outside the gate, and there were dozens of passages around the square. In a passage to Lin Chen's left, Pei Liangping's roaring and fighting sounds could be faintly heard. Ha! Lin Chen was stunned, then moved his body and ran towards one of the passages. Chapter 42 Rewards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After walking in the passage for a while, Lin Chen saw the end, but at the end of the passage, there was a giant puppet 3 meters tall. The puppet held a long sword in his hand. When he felt Lin Chen coming, he immediately moved with a click. Whoosh! The long sword in the puppet's hand slashed at Lin Chen, blowing a sword wind. 7-star chain sword, Lin Chen shouted, and a nearly 1.5 meter long sword energy directly attacked the chest of the puppet. Then, with a bang, the puppet's body retreated repeatedly. Taking advantage of the moment when the puppet retreated, Lin Chen kicked his feet and rushed out of the passage from the puppet in an instant with the Qinyan step, past the level. Then, a voice came, third place. The elder in green opened his mouth, and the voice was transmitted with his powerful true energy. Not far away from him, there was Pei Liangping with a gloomy face and Yuan Fei with a smile on his face. After waiting for a while, the top 10 rushed out. The elder in green smiled slightly, and distributed the rewards in the envious eyes of many disciples. When he walked in front of Lin Chen, a look of surprise flashed across his face, and he said, "Lin Chen, congratulations on winning the third place. This is your reward. From today on, you are an inner disciple." "Thank you, elder." Lin Chen nodded and took the reward. The 2 tokens of this reward, one is the qualification to enter the library to exchange for low-level Xian-level martial arts with half-price contribution points, and the other is the certificate of the inner disciple. As for the elixir, it is naturally a mid-grade earth spirit elixir. After collecting the things, Lin Chen showed a smile on his face. Humph. On the side, Pei Liangping saw Lin Chen like this, and his face became even uglier. He snorted coldly, turned around, and walked straight away. Seeing this, the elder in green couldn't help but look at Lin Chen again. A smile appeared on his face, and he murmured, with the 6th level of the body refining realm, he won the 3rd place in the Tianluo Mountain secret realm. No disciple of my Tianji Sect's outer sect has been able to reach this level for 10 years. After receiving the reward, Lin Chen rushed to the library impatiently. Although he didn't have enough contribution points to exchange for low-level Xian-level martial arts, inner disciples could choose high-level and top-level Huang-level martial arts for free, and Lin Chen didn't want to miss it either. Qingyun Step is a middle-level Huang-level martial art. Although its speed is extraordinary, it is much inferior to Yuan Fei and others. Lin Chen thought to himself and planned to go to the library to choose a top-level Huang-level body movement to practice. Half an hour later, Lin Chen walked slowly into the library. The white-robed elder who was guarding the library saw Lin Chen coming again, and couldn't help but laugh and said, "Lin Chen, what martial arts do you want to choose this time?" Lin Chen stretched out his hand and handed the token of becoming an inner disciple to the white-robed old man. The latter was stunned when he saw this, and then a look of surprise appeared on his face. "You won the 3rd place in the Tianluo Mountain Secret Realm. Did you really succeed in practicing the phantom sword?" The old man in white robe was shocked. Lin Chen smiled and nodded. After getting Lin Chen's affirmation, the old man in white robe looked at Lin Chen deeply and sighed. "It's really the Yangtze River. The waves behind push the waves in front. Lin Chen, you won the 3rd place in the Tianluo Mountain Secret Realm. You can go to the 2nd floor. Go." "Thank you, Elder." Lin Chen took the token and turned around and walked straight to the 2nd floor. The 2nd floor is where the book collection pavilion collects high-level and top-level yellow-level martial arts. If the outer disciples want to go to the 2nd floor, they must have contribution points that can be exchanged for a martial art. At this moment, there are many inner disciples on the 2nd floor who are choosing martial arts. When these disciples saw Lin Chen coming up, they were slightly startled and then went to choose martial arts. Obviously, they thought that Lin Chen was an outer disciple who exchanged martial arts with contribution points. Ignoring these inner disciples, Lin Chen turned around and chose from many secret books. There are more secret books on the 2nd floor than on the 1st floor. Lin Chen picked up a secret book, put it down, and carefully selected them. It is especially important for a warrior to choose a martial art that suits him. Some warriors can stimulate their potential and exert extremely powerful power by practicing the martial arts that suit them. Lin Chen was a martial arts master in his previous life. He knew the importance of martial arts that suit him. Half an hour later, Lin Chen raised his head and saw a pile of secret books in front of him. Instant, top-level yellow-level melee body technique. When used in conjunction with martial arts in a small-scale battle, the power will be greatly enhanced. 1,000 miles step, top-level yellow-level body technique. This step is suitable for long-distance travel. It consumes less true energy and is fast. Lin Chen shook his head and put down the 1,000 miles step secret book in his hand. There are generally 2 types of body techniques in body techniques. One is melee body techniques, and the other is body techniques for traveling. Instant and 1,000 miles are melee body techniques and body techniques for traveling respectively. However, this time Lin Chen plans to choose a melee body technique. After all, battles change rapidly. If you have a powerful melee body technique, you will have to react more quickly. As for the body technique used for traveling, Qingyun Step is still very suitable. However, although this instantaneous power is good, Lin Chen feels that it is not suitable for him. Shaking his head, Lin Chen turned around and picked up a secret book from another bookshelf to read. After a moment, Lin Chen suddenly raised his head with a hint of joy in his eyes. Eagle Strike Transformation, divided into 3 changes. The first change is Eagle Pounce, the second change is Eagle Flash, and the third change is Eagle Strike. That the power of Eagle Strike Transformation will be greatly enhanced when it is used in conjunction with swordsmanship. It is rumored that this body technique was created by ancient warriors when they were chasing the Sky Eagle. They observed the flight and attack of the Sky Eagle and thus learned something or other. Its power is much stronger than the same level of martial arts. The Sky Eagle is one of the most powerful flying monsters in the Tianling Continent. It is extremely rare and is famous for its flying speed and impact attack. However, although this body technique was created by simulating the Sky Eagle, it only simulated the charm of the Sky Eagle, without the real agility, so it is much weaker than the real Sky Eagle's flight. But even so, Eagle Strike Transformation is much more powerful than the same level of martial arts. The last page of this secret book even has the words of the creator, hoping that one day, the warrior who practices this body technique can find the sky eagle and create the real eagle strike transformation. This eagle strike transformation is not only more powerful than the same level of body techniques, but also has a lot of room for improvement. I will practice this eagle strike transformation. Lin Chen made a decision without hesitation when he saw this. Picking up the eagle strike transformation secret book, Lin Chen was about to go downstairs to hand it over, but at this moment, a scolding voice suddenly came from the second floor. Boy, I, Duan Fong, want this martial arts book. Put down the martial arts book and leave immediately. As the voice sounded, many inner disciples who were selecting martial arts all looked up and looked towards the place where the voice came from. Lin Chen also took a look inside and then shook his head. The competition between inner disciples was also very fierce. At this moment, it was normal for two inner disciples to take a fancy to the same martial arts at the same time, but soon, another cold voice came. I chose this martial arts book first, why should I give it to you? Hearing this voice, Lin Chen's body paused. The person who made this voice was Yuan Fei. Lin Chen remembered very clearly what Yuan Fei said to Lin Chen before rushing out of the Tianluo Mountain secret realm, but he didn't expect that he also came to the second floor of the library to select martial arts. Although the two had never met formally, Yuan Fei was very interested in Lin Chen, and Lin Chen also admired Yuan Fei. After a slight hesitation, Lin Chen turned around and walked towards the second floor. When Lin Chen walked over, the other inner disciples who were originally selecting martial arts also walked in, looking at Yuan Fei and Duan Fong curiously. Duan Fong was about 23 years old, and his cultivation was in the early stage of Tiangang realm. However, judging from the faint aura on his body, it was obvious that he had just broken through not long ago. He broke through the Tiangang realm in his 20s, and his aptitude was obviously very ordinary. After hearing Yuan Fei's words, Duan Fong couldn't help but look annoyed, and threatened faintly, Boy, you are very good to have cultivated to the 9th level of the body refining realm at such a young age, but the body refining realm and the Tiangang realm are qualitatively different. If you know what's good for you, you can still hand over your skills now. Yuan Fei sneered and said, you broke through to the Tiangang realm at the age of 20, and you still have the nerve to show it off. Duan Fong's face changed, and it turned ashen. He looked at Yuan Fei with his eyes blazing with fire, and said fiercely, Boy, if you want to die, I will grant you your wish. According to the rules of the sect, do you dare to challenge me? Why not? 2 months later, in the inner gate square, I hope you won't ask for mercy then. Yuan Fei is not a fool. Although his cultivation has broken through to the 9th level of the body refining realm, the 9th level of the body refining realm is only one level lower than the Tiangang realm, but the strength is one world apart. If he challenges this inner gate disciple at this moment, he may lose more, but if he is given 2 months to improve his strength, it will be easy to defeat Duan Fong. Duan Fong was choked when he heard this. Originally, he wanted to challenge Yuan Fei now, but who knew that Yuan Fei would directly set the time 2 months later, but he couldn't put down his face to change the time, and couldn't help staring at Yuan Fei in frustration. Hey, Duan Fong, do you know who this junior brother is? He is Yuan Fei, the winner of the first place in the Tianluo Mountain secret realm this time. He has cultivated to the 9th level of the body refining realm at the age of only 16. Now he has entered the inner gate. It is only a matter of time for him to break through to the Tiangang realm. This time you are in trouble. The disciples around saw that Duan Fong had an appointment with Yuan Fei, and they couldn't help but show a joking look. One of the disciples spoke up. Hearing this, Duan Fong's face changed. He also entered the inner gate through the Tianluo Mountain secret realm that year, but he broke into the Tianluo Mountain secret realm several times in a row before he barely passed the Tianluo Mountain secret realm. He knew very well how difficult it was to break into the Tianluo Mountain secret realm. At this moment, the one who had an appointment with him was the first place in the Tianluo Mountain secret realm. Duan Fong couldn't help but feel a throbbing in his heart. Just when he was annoyed, Duan Fong suddenly saw Lin Chen in the crowd. An outer disciple in the late 6th level of the body refining realm dared to come to see the inner disciples to fight. If he didn't teach him a lesson, wouldn't there be a big fuss in the future? Duan Fong's face darkened, and he shouted in a low voice, "You, get out," that the disciples around turned their heads and looked at Lin Chen. Yuan Fei also looked at Lin Chen and greeted Lin Chen with a smile, but he was laughing secretly in his heart. He knew Lin Chen's terrifying talent very well. Duan Fong scolded Lin Chen now, which was simply asking for trouble. When Lin Chen heard Duan Fong's words, his face suddenly looked bad. He was scolded for no reason. Even though Lin Chen was calm, he couldn't help but get annoyed at this moment. Lin Chen looked at Duan Fong coldly and said in a deep voice, "Take back what you said, get out now, I can still forgive you." That everyone was shocked. Chapter 43, The Heavenly Ranking. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Duan Fong originally scolded Lin Chen because he just wanted to find someone to vent his anger on, but on the second floor, most of them were inner disciples, all of whom were strong, so Duan Fong naturally did not dare to offend. As for the other outer disciples, they are only in the body refining realm, so how can they dare to watch Duan Fong's show? Duan Fong immediately exploded when he saw Lin Chen, a warrior at the late 6th level of the body refining realm, who dared to watch his jokes. However, who would have thought that Lin Chen would be so arrogant and not take Duan Fong seriously at all? Duan Fong was so angry that his mouth trembled on the spot. What is the world like now? Are all the disciples in the body refining realm so arrogant? Even he, an inner disciple of the Tiangang realm, was not afraid at all. The inner disciples all around also looked at each other in confusion. Lin Chen originally stayed nearby and said nothing, but when he spoke, he shocked everyone. Suddenly, a disciple's voice came, "Is this junior fellow apprentice Lin Chen? I've heard of you." Even Li Shan was embarrassed by you. "I admire you." Lin Chen, that everyone was stunned for a moment, and then a look of surprise appeared on their faces. Some time ago, Lin Chen defeated Ma Liang, which not only spread his name to the outer sect, but also some inner sect disciples had heard of him. The reason was the conflict between Lin Chen and Li Shan. Li Shan was embarrassed by Lin Chen, so he naturally wouldn't spread the word everywhere. But there is no airtight wall in this world. Many outer sect disciples in the outer sect have connections with the inner sect disciples. As soon as it is passed down from 10 to 10, some of the inner sect disciples will naturally know about it. You may not know that news has just come from the outer gate. This time, the first place in the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain is Yuan Fei, the second place is Pei Liangping, and the third place is Lin Chen. TSK, Duan Fong, I'll see how you end it. A warrior in the early Tiangang realm said with a joking face. After hearing the words of this Tiangang realm early stage warrior, Duan Fong's face suddenly turned red. If Lin Chen dared to reply to him so arrogantly, he was either stupid and ignorant, or he was extremely powerful and qualified to challenge him. But since Lin Chen was able to break into the top 3 of Tianluo Mountain's secret realm, he probably didn't know what to do. In this case, there is only one explanation. Lin Chen is very strong and extremely talented, even more powerful than Yuan Fei. Duan Fong knew it in his heart, but he couldn't stop it. He looked like a disciple of the body refining realm, lowered his head, and glanced at Lin Chen, intending to break his teeth and swallow it. I think this generation of outer disciples who have entered the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain, it's nothing more than that. How can a disciple at the late 6th level of the body refining realm break into the top 3? Lin Chen originally didn't want to pay attention to Duan Fong, but he poured his anger on himself. Lin Chen was also very annoyed and sneered, "You are not qualified to comment on my strength. You are not even qualified to let me draw my sword. Nothing." Wow! The disciples around him were in an uproar. What Lin Chen said was already very arrogant, but now, he is not even qualified to draw a sword. This is too disrespectful to Duan Fong. Duan Fong's face turned completely purple. Originally, he said this because he hoped that Lin Chen would give him some face. Then he walked down the steps. Unexpectedly, Lin Chen didn't give him any face. More and more inner disciples gathered around, all of them waiting jokingly to see how Duan Fong would end. If he lowers his head and leaves now, he will never be able to raise his head again at the inner gate. At this point, Duan Fong had no choice but to rush forward. He looked at Lin Chen angrily, gritted his teeth and said, "Okay. I want to see where your arrogant capital is. I will fight with you for 2 months. Finally, when the time comes, we will deal with you two together and let you see that you, the newly promoted outer disciples, should bow your heads like the veteran inner disciples." After saying that, Duan Fong couldn't stay here any longer, turned his head and left angrily. Seeing this, the surrounding inner disciples also dispersed. Continue to choose martial arts techniques each. Yuan Fei, on the other hand, looked at Lin Chen with a smile. Unintentionally, the two formed an alliance to deal with Duan Fong. As he went downstairs, Yuan Fei said, "Lin Chen, I've heard of this Duan Fong. He has average talent but a very arrogant nature. He only has a few friends in the inner sect, and one of them is Li Shan. Is Duan Fong still Li Shan's friend?" Lin Chen didn't expect this, but even so, Lin Chen didn't care much. With his talent and qualifications, it was only a matter of time before he caught up with these two people. Yuan Fei continued, "I heard that you had a conflict with Pei Liangping in the secret realm of Chuangshanluo Mountain. Pei Liangping is very talented, but he is a man who must retaliate. When he was in the outer sect, he beat people seriously for trivial matters. You have to be careful." Lin Chen smiled. He didn't even pay attention to Li Shan and others, so how could he care about Pei Liangping? What's more, those who break into the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain rely on their strength to compete for the top 10. Lin Chen has the strength, so he will naturally compete for 1 or 2. However, Yuan Fei was able to tell Lin Chen this information, and he obviously regarded Lin Chen as a friend. The two of them handed over the secret book to the old man in white robe, and then walked outside together. The old man in white robe was naturally aware of what happened to Lin Chen and others on the second floor, but he also acquiesced. After all, this was also a kind of training for his disciples. After chatting for a while, Yuan Fei suddenly said, "Lin Chen, now that you have become an inner disciple, what are your plans?" In the past 3 months, Lin Chen has been working hard to become an inner disciple. Now that he has become an inner disciple, Lin Chen can't help but breathe a sigh of relief. However, Lin Chen was a man with a firm mind in his 2 lives, so naturally he would not fall down. He smiled lightly and said, "I will retreat for a period of time, and then prepare to go out to practice and improve my cultivation as soon as possible." Yuan Fei nodded and said, "Yes, the inner sect is much more competitive than the outer sect. If you fail the semi-annual assessment, you will be passed up again. Inner sect disciples will be assessed every 6 months. If they fail the assessment, they will be transferred to the outer sect, or be sent out to serve as minor deacons. At that time, it will be very troublesome to return to the inner sect." Lin Chen nodded, and after saying goodbye like Yuan Fei, he walked straight towards the hut. Returning to the hut, Lin Chen immediately took out the box from the storage ring. After coming out of the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain, Lin Chen has been thinking about the jade pendant in this box. What is this jade pendant used for? Previously, in the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain, Lin Chen was pressed for time and did not look at it in detail. Now that he had time, Lin Chen took a quick look and suddenly found a Yin character engraved on the back of this jade pendant. Yin. Lin Chen frowned, but couldn't figure out the connection between the word Yin and the jade pendant. Without thinking too much, Lin Chen mobilized his energy again and planned to try this jade pendant again. Under normal circumstances, as long as there is a spiritual object, the warrior's true energy can make it work. But at this moment, no matter how much Lin Chen injected his energy, the jade pendant had no reaction at all. The diffusion of soul power also failed to detect the function of this jade pendant. Seeing this, Lin Chen couldn't help but frown deeply. Infuriating energy is useless, soul power is useless, could it be? Lin Chen thought silently in his heart. His eyes suddenly lit up, and he thought of a possibility. Could it be that this jade pendant requires real energy to exert its effect? Lin Chen suddenly thought, above the true energy is the true essence, but only when the cultivation level breaks through to the true Tao realm, the true energy in the body can be converted into the true essence. However, it is not easy for a warrior to advance to the true Tao realm. Among the younger generation in the entire Yannan region, only Su Lei has broken through to the true Tao realm not long ago. Lin Chen didn't let Lin Chen think too much. At this moment, there was a knock on the outer door. Lin Chen was stunned. put the jade pendant into the box, put it away and walked outside. When I came to the yard, I happened to see Xian looking at Lin Chen with admiration. Lin Chen, you are really good. With the late cultivation level of the 6th level of the body refining realm, you won the 3rd place in the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain. It took 10 years for our outer sect of Tianji Sect to enter the inner sect with the 6th level of the body refining realm. A former disciple. And you are still 3rd, you are much better than that disciple. Xian said with a smile. Originally, both Xuelingyun and Xian agreed that it was certain that Lin Chen would break through the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain, but his ability to enter the top 3 surprised them. After all, there are many talented disciples in the outer sect, and the number of disciples with the 8th level of the body refining realm is not as small as it seems. However, Lin Chen has been in the hands of many disciples with higher cultivation levels than him. Went 3rd, Lin Chen smiled and saw a strange look in his eyes when he saw that Xian was the only one coming. Xian was thoughtful. When she saw the strange look in Lin Chen's eyes, she immediately covered her mouth and smiled. Lin Chen, you are in Lingyun, right? She didn't come today. Hearing Xian's words, Lin Chen smiled, but for some reason, the strange feeling in his heart was even stronger. Immediately, Xian continued, I'm coming here today. The first thing is to take you to the inner gate to register. The second thing is about Lingyun. What's the matter? Lin Chen was stunned. You may not know this. Every once in a while, the sect will arrange for some of our inner sect disciples to serve as inspectors and go to various secular countries to gain experience and at the same time protect the people of the country. Xian said, the Yannan Territory is vast, and is divided into countless countries, large and small, and most of these countries are dependent on various major sections. As one of the 5 great sects in the Yannan region, Tianji Sect naturally has many secular countries attached to it. These countries provide a large amount of cultivation resources and talented disciples to the sect every year, and the sect will also send powerful disciples from the inner sect to the front. To protect and at the same time train the talented disciples in the sect. The second thing is that Lingyun is about to serve as an inspector and go to the Tianbei Kingdom in the north of the Yannan Territory for training, so I'm here to inform you and hope you go and meet her. As she said that, Xian's big, watery eyes flashed. He looked at Lin Chen without blinking. During this period of time, Lin Chen had been staying with Xuelingyun, and he had subconsciously regarded Xuelingyun as his confidant. At this moment, Xuelingyun was about to go out to serve as an inspector for training. This trip would last for at least several years. Thinking of this, Lin Chen I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Let's go. Lin Chen nodded and walked towards the inner door with Xian. Arriving at the Changchun Hall of the inner sect, Lin Chen handed the tokens of the inner sect disciples to an elder for recording. After collecting the necessities, he followed Xian around the inner sect. Inner disciples must complete a task every month. If you want to exchange for Xian level skills, you must have enough contribution points. Lin Chen, these are written on the tokens of inner disciples. Look back. You'll know just by looking at it. The two walked and chatted. After a while, Lin Chen and Xian arrived at the inner gate square. This square is extremely vast and can accommodate tens of thousands of people at the same time without any pressure. More importantly, in the center of this square, there is a huge stone monument. On top of the stone tablet, there are many wooden plaques with names engraved on them, divided into hundreds of rows, and each row has 10 rankings, and in the center of these wooden plaques, 3 ancient and powerful characters were clearly engraved. Tianji List. Chapter 44 Body Protection Beads. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is the Tianji ranking. Xian said, the Tianji ranking is a list of inner disciples. The 10 people in the first row are the 10 core disciples of our Tianji sect, and the second row is the 10 inner disciples, ranked from left to right. The inner disciples who can enter the Tianji ranking have cultivation at least in the early stage of Tiangang realm. Early stage of Tiangang realm. Lin Chen raised his head and looked at the Tianji ranking. the first person in the first row is Chen Gaoi, the core disciple of Tianji Sect. His cultivation has reached the peak of Tiangang realm. He is only one step away from advancing to the true Dao realm. The last person in the last row is a disciple named Hong Wei. It has been some time since his cultivation broke through to the early stage of Tiangang realm. His strength is much stronger than that of Tiangang realm warriors like Li Shan. My cultivation is still at the bottom among the inner disciples. Lin Chen shook his head secretly. Although he became an inner disciple with the cultivation of the late 6th stage of the refining body realm, his cultivation is also the lowest among the inner disciples. Of course, in terms of strength, Lin Chen is much stronger than most of the inner disciples in the body refining realm. Lin Chen, the ranking on this Tianji list is changing at any time, because every moment, there will be other disciples who have breakthroughs in their cultivation and their strength will increase greatly. As long as these disciples challenge anyone on the Tianji list, once the challenge is successful, they will replace the ranking of the disciples on the list. Xian smiled and said, but it is not absolute. There are still many disciples in the inner sect who hide their strength and are not interested in the Tianji list. Of course, there are few such disciples. After all, it is an honor to be ranked on the Tianji list, and the treatment of the inner disciples on the Tianji list is much higher. As long as they are inner disciples, they can receive elixirs and spirit stones issued by the sect, and the inner disciples on the Tianji list get much stronger elixirs and spirit stones than ordinary inner disciples. It is precisely because of this that all the inner disciples are devoted to hard practice in order to be honored on the list as soon as possible. Under this vigorous practice, the entire Tianji sect also blooms with brilliant brilliance and lasts forever. Lin Chen nodded, indicating his understanding. After all, if a sect wants to maintain its long-term prosperity, the disciples in the sect are crucial. After looking at the Tianji list for a while, Lin Chen found that the list had changed several times, and it was obvious that some disciples were eliminated. However, the disciples on the Tianji list do not have to accept challenges from other inner disciples all the time. There are a maximum of 3 challenges a day. If they are in seclusion or out for training, it is counted separately. Leaving the square, the 2 happen to pass by the mission hall of the inner sect of Tianji Sect. The inner disciples of Tianji Sect must complete a sect mission every month. Of course, the tasks done by the inner disciples are much more difficult than the sect missions in the outer sect mission hall. The sect missions in the mission hall are divided into 7 stars. 1 star and 2 stars correspond to warriors in the body refining realm, 3 stars and 4 stars correspond to warriors in the Tiangang realm, and 5 stars and 6 stars correspond to warriors in the True Wei realm. As for the 7-star mission, generally only geniuses who have not come out of the world and the elders of the sect can complete it. Lin Chen stayed here for a while and continued to walk down. After passing through a dense forest, the 2 finally came to a stone pavilion. In the stone pavilion, there was a pretty figure, with long black hair cascading down like a waterfall, and a white tight-fitting dress that showed off her curvy figure to the fullest. On the stone table, there was a snow-white sword, and against the backdrop of this sword, she looked like a chivalrous woman. Seeing this, Xian stuck out her tongue and walked towards the stone pavilion with a smile. Lin Chen followed slowly. The figure slowly turned around, and it was Xuelingyun. Seeing Lin Chen, she couldn't help but smile and said, "Lin Chen, congratulations on entering the inner gate." Lin Chen bowed and smiled. "I also want to thank my senior sister for helping me temper my body." After that, the 3 of them fell silent. Although Lin Chen had lived 2 lives, he was an idiot in terms of emotions. Seeing Xuelingyun fall silent at this moment, he couldn't help but panic. But he didn't know how to speak, so he could only stare wide-eyed and remain silent. Xuelingyun, seeing Lin Chen's flustered look, laughed in her heart, but because of her girlish reserve, she did not speak. The atmosphere in the stone pavilion seemed a little depressing. Perhaps unable to bear this kind of depression, Xian curled her lips and said, "I say, do you too have to do this? It's not a life and death separation. Lin Chen, if you want to see Ling Yun again in the future, practice hard, and then you can go to Tianbei country to find her. And Ling Yun, just a few years, it will pass in the blink of an eye." After hearing Xian's words, Xuelingyun's pretty face suddenly blushed slightly. turned her head and looked at Lin Chen, and the two looked at each other in the air. Lin Chen, this thing is for you. Xuelingyun suddenly took out a light blue crystal ball the size of 2 thumbs and handed it to Lin Chen, looking at him hopefully. Body protection bead. Lin Chen, this is a good thing. Aoxin saw this and exclaimed, then said with a face full of resentment, Lingyun, you are really willing to give it up. This thing is extremely precious. Only the inner sect genius disciples will be given one. If you don't want it, what if you encounter danger? Xuelingyun's face flushed again, and said, Lin Chen is still in the late 6th level of the body refining realm. He really needs the body protection bead. Lin Chen was stunned, and then shook his head and refused, thank you for your kindness, how can I accept such a valuable gift? What's more, senior sister is about to go out for training, and it will be dangerous on the way, so it's better to take this body protection bead. Hearing this, Xuelingyun felt a little disappointed, but she returned to normal immediately. If Lin Chen accepted it on the spot, Xuelingyun would be even more disappointed. At this moment, Lin Chen shook his head and refused, which could reflect his character and quality. This body protection bead can withstand the attack of a Tiangang realm warrior. You can keep it for the critical moment. Xuelingyun said. Aoxin on the side also said, Lin Chen, Lingyun is willing to give you the body protection bead. This is an affirmation of you. Why don't you take it quickly? Lin Chen nodded and stretched out his hand to take it. This body protection bead was faintly blue. Lin Chen wrapped it in a sachet and hung it around his waist in front of the two women. At first glance, Lin Chen seemed to have become a playboy. Seeing this, Xuelingyun couldn't help but laugh. Seeing this, Lin Chen couldn't help but laugh softly. Immediately, the three chatted in the stone pavilion. Xuelingyun went to Tianbei country this time, led by an inner sect elder in the late stage of the true Dao realm. In addition, there were 2 other inner sect genius disciples, all of whom were extraordinary. This time, the 4 people went to Tianbei country as inspectors for 3 years, that is, if there were no unexpected circumstances, Xuelingyun and the other 4 would return to Tianji Sect after 3 years. After chatting for a while, the 2 women said goodbye to Lin Chen, and Xuelingyun was ready to report to the mission hall. After seeing Xuelingyun off, Lin Chen followed the instructions of the token and found a courtyard on the inner sect Kaohsiung Peak to live. Many disciples living on Kaohsiung Peak were promoted to inner sect disciples in the past 2 years. Not far from Lin Chen's courtyard was Yuan Fei's residence. Early the next morning. Lin Chen woke up from his hard practice, and with a click, a piece of medium-grade spirit stone in his hand broke into pieces. After a night of hard practice, he actually absorbed the spiritual energy of a piece of medium-grade spirit stone. However, the benefits are self-evident. The true energy in Lin Chen's dantian is getting thicker and thicker, and his cultivation has improved a lot. Immediately, Lin Chen combed his hair, came to the yard with a fine steel sword, and started practicing swordsmanship. Swish, swish, swish. The fine steel sword was swung repeatedly, leaving several afterimages in the air. With the improvement of physical fitness and the breakthrough of cultivation, the power of Lin Chen's various martial arts will be greatly increased. After practicing swordsmanship for a whole morning and having lunch, Lin Chen picked up the melee body movement Eagle Strike transformation and started to look at it. Eagle Strike transformation is divided into 3 forms. The first change is Eagle Pounce, the second change is Eagle Flash, and the third change is Eagle Strike. When practicing to the third change, it can even evolve into an attack. Compared with the melee body movement of the same level, this Eagle Strike transformation is much more powerful. Eagle Strike transformation was created by simulating the flight of the heavenly eagle. When I practice this body movement, it is best to imagine myself as the heavenly eagle. When the heavenly eagle flies, it is extremely fast. Whether it is a long journey or a small range of movement, it is extremely fast. This Eagle Strike transformation only inherited the melee speed of the Sky Eagle, and then used the true energy to circulate the mental method of the major meridians and acupoints in the body. Lin Chen calmed down, and suddenly he looked like a Sky Eagle, with sharp eyes and a huge momentum. With a low shout, Lin Chen's body suddenly moved, leaving several afterimages on the flat ground, and swept forward. This speed was slightly faster than when he performed the Qingyun step. The first time he performed the Eagle Strike transformation, he could perform it to such a degree. If others saw it, I don't know how surprised they would be. However, Lin Chen frowned and thought to himself, the first change of the Eagle Strike transformation is the Eagle Pounce. The speed I performed just now was barely enough, but with the sword skills, it couldn't play a role in blessing the power. After a slight hesitation, Lin Chen drew out the fine steel sword. At the same time, the momentum of his whole body changed again, like an eagle swooping forward, as if there was a prey in front of him. While performing this move, Lin Chen slammed the fine steel sword in his hand. Puff, the sound of the fine steel sword piercing the air sounded. Under the attack of Eagle Strike, the power of this sword was much stronger than usual. The next moment, Lin Chen's body stopped about 100 meters away. He pondered for a moment, thinking about the shortcomings of the Eagle Strike and Eagle Pounce just now. The form is similar but the spirit is not. Let's do it again. After thinking for a while, Lin Chen held the fine steel sword and practiced again in the yard. Swish. Swish. The sword light flashed in the air, and Lin Chen's body kept flashing in the yard, accompanied by a series of piercing sounds of breaking through the air. Ha! Lin Chen moved his body, like an eagle catching prey, and pounced forward fiercely, while the fine steel sword in his hand quickly struck out. This time, Lin Chen seemed to have really become an eagle. His body was an eagle's body, and the fine steel sword in his hand was an eagle's claw. His body pounced forward and his claws fell at the same time. Swish, the fine steel sword struck the ground, leaving a long scratch. I have mastered the Eagle Pounce. Seeing this, Lin Chen's face immediately showed great joy. In just one afternoon, Lin Chen had mastered the first transformation of Eagle Strike, Eagle Pounce, to the highest level. Chapter 45, Rapid Progress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Click. In the early morning, a slight clicking sound came, and Lin Chen, who had been practicing all night, slowly opened his eyes. After exhaling, Lin Chen placed the middle-grade spiritual stone in his hand that had no spiritual energy and was broken into pieces on the table beside him. Then he closed his eyes slightly and looked inward. After practicing hard for several days, the true energy in Lin Chen's body has become extremely strong and has reached a critical point. As long as this critical point is exceeded, Lin Chen will immediately reach the peak of the 6th level of the body refining realm. However, Lin Chen was not satisfied with this. He turned over his hand and took out a crystal bottle. Inside this crystal bottle, there is a pill with silver light lingering. An ordinary earth spirit pill can save a warrior a month of hard training. The pill in my hand is a middle-grade earth spirit pill, and with the refinement of Shaoding. Lin Chen pondered slightly. This time, I don't know if I can break through to the 7th level of the body refining realm in one fell swoop. Originally, Lin Chen wanted to take this middle-grade earth spirit pill immediately, but once Lin Chen took it, it would not be difficult for his cultivation to reach the peak of the 6th level of the body refining realm. But he never took it, just to raise his cultivation to this critical point, and then use the middle-grade earth spirit pill to raise his cultivation to the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm in one fell swoop. If other people knew Lin Chen's thoughts, they would definitely feel crazy. They must know that continuous breakthroughs are extremely dangerous. If they are not careful, their meridians may be destroyed by the huge spiritual energy of heaven and earth. After taking a slight breath, Lin Chen continued to cross his legs without moving. Then, he stretched out his hand and took out the middle-grade earth spirit pill from the crystal bottle, opened his mouth and swallowed it directly. As he swallowed this Danyang, Lin Chen immediately felt a huge spiritual energy of heaven and earth flowing through his body, extremely violent, but the next moment, this huge spiritual energy of heaven and earth was completely absorbed by the small cauldron in his mind in the blink of an eye. After a moment, another stream of pure spiritual energy from heaven and earth spurted out from the small cauldron and went straight to Lin Chen's major meridians. This spiritual energy of heaven and earth is several times richer than the medicinal spiritual energy of the previous mid-grade earth spirit pill. The true energy in the body slowly circulates throughout the world, 1 great celestial cycle, 2 great celestial cycles, when he reached the fifth great cycle, Lin Chen's dantian suddenly heard a slight banging sound. The next moment, his momentum increased, and the true energy in his dantian passed the critical point in one fell swoop. The sixth level of body refining realm peaks. A flash of joy flashed across Lin Chen's face, but Lin Chen was not too surprised. After all, it had been settling for so long, and the true energy in his dantian had reached the critical point of the sixth peak of the body refining realm. It could be said that he had done very well. Be fully prepared. If you don't make a breakthrough after this, it will be a surprise. Without pausing, Lin Chen continued to circulate the heaven and earth to refine the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in his body. As time passed, the Jinqi in his body became more and more mellow. The Jinqi in the center of his dantian became so rich that it seemed to be in a liquid state. Less than half an hour later, the true energy in Lin Chen's body finally reached the critical point of the seventh level of the body refining realm again. As long as he breaks through this critical point, Lin Chen's cultivation will inevitably advance to the seventh level of the body refining realm. However, at this moment, the extremely pure spiritual energy of heaven and earth in his body has been refined, which is not enough for him to break through. Lin Chen's expression changed slightly. He turned his hand and took out a middle-grade spiritual stone while absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth inside. The spiritual energy of this middle-grade spiritual stone was purified by shouting and sprayed into the major meridians of his body. But even so, it was still not enough for him to break through to the seventh level of the body refining realm. Half an hour later, Lin Chen stopped doing the great heavenly cycle, opened his eyes and stood up. At this moment, his cultivation level is impressively at the peak of the sixth level of the body refining realm. He is only one step away from advancing to the early stage of the seventh level of the body refining realm, the realm of viscera refining. Although his cultivation failed to break through to the seventh level of the body refining realm, Lin Chen was not too disappointed. During the journey of cultivation, he could not force himself. The body refining realm was used to lay the foundation for all major realms of martial arts. If he swallowed it wholeheartedly, I am afraid it would still affect the future practice. The bronze body refining technique is divided into 4 levels. I have only reached the third level of broken copper rebirth. There is still a lot of room for improvement. Lin Chen has a determined mind and soon failed to break through to the seventh level of the body refining realm. Wake up and prepare to practice the bronze body refining technique first. Taking out the body refining ointment, Lin Chen took off his shirt, revealing his solid and muscular body. Then he applied the body refining ointment to his body. In an instant, he felt a burning sensation on his skin. Puff puff, Lin Chen's face was expressionless, and the copper energy in his body was running according to the mental diagram of the bronze body refining formula. At the same time, he got into position and practiced Mizong Fist in the yard. Mizong Fist is a boxing technique that Lin Chen practiced in his previous life. Its technique is similar to that of the Phantom Sword, focusing on speed. Wherever the punch passed, there were slight sounds of breaking through the air, and as he continued to practice boxing, a trace of mist filled his body. Boom. 2 hours later, Lin Chen punched a rock with a fierce punch. The huge force hit the rock, and the rock shattered on the spot. More importantly, Lin Chen's punch this time had a hint of punching power. After the rock was shattered, there was not even an obvious punch mark on the ground. What a powerful punch! The power of my punch should reach 11,000 kilograms. Seeing the power of this punch, Lin Chen took a slight breath, and then a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. Being able to increase one's fist strength by 1,000 kilograms in 2 hours is already extremely remarkable. You must know that when you practice physical training, the further you go, the more difficult it will be to increase your punching power. Suppressing his excitement, Lin Chen practiced the ancient bronze body refining technique again. In this way, Lin Chen absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to practice at night, practiced swordsmanship in the morning, and practiced the ancient bronze body refining technique and eagle strike in the afternoon. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 days had passed since Xue Lingyun went out as an inspector, and during these more than 20 days of hard practice, Lin Chen's strength has improved by leaps and bounds. His third level of the ancient bronze body refining technique, broken copper rebirth, has now reached a great success. Now his punching force has reached 15,000 kilograms, comparable to the old-fashioned Tiangang realm initial stage warriors. However, after practicing his fist strength to this point, it is extremely difficult for Lin Chen to improve. Sometimes, after practicing hard for a day, he can only increase his fist strength by several kilograms or dozens of kilograms, which can be said to be the speed of a turtle crawling. After more than 20 days of hard practice, Lin Chen has mastered the eagle strike more and more proficiently, and even touched the second change eagle flash. However, this close combat body method is created by imitating monsters after all. The circulation of the true chi in the warrior's body is completely different from that of the heavenly eagle, so it is much more difficult to practice than other martial arts. More importantly, during the 20 days of retreat and hard training, Lin Chen's sword power has slightly improved, and it is better hidden when it is used. Ordinary Tiangang realm warriors can't see that he has mastered the sword power. That night, after combing his hair, Lin Chen sat cross-legged with a medium-grade spirit stone in one hand. At this moment, Lin Chen's aura is much more powerful than 20 days ago, and even faintly, his aura presents a majestic dragon scene. After closing his eyes and looking inward for a while, Lin Chen opened his eyes and thought to himself, "It has been a while since I broke through to the peak of the 6th level of the body refining realm, and the true chi in my body has also reached a mellow and perfect state. I can almost break through." It has been nearly 20 days since Lin Chen took the Earth Spirit Pill to break through. In the past 20 days, he has used the medium-grade Spirit Stone to practice every night. After settling for so long, he already feels that his cultivation is almost ready for a breakthrough. He took a breath, closed his eyes slightly, and the true qi in his body began to circulate according to the Qingming Xianyang Gong, absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the two medium-grade spirit stones in his hands bit by bit, after being purified by the small tripod. This spiritual energy of heaven and earth was extremely pure, and it was slowly converted into the true qi in Lin Chen's body. The true qi in his body became more and more, condensed into a ball, and began to charge at the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm. Puff! A dull sound sounded in Lin Chen's body. The 6th level of the body refining realm is to refine blood, and the 7th level is to refine organs. When the cultivation breaks through to the 7th level of the body refining realm, the true qi in the body is integrated into the various internal organs in the body, making the internal organs in the abdomen harder and indestructible. This true qi condensed into a ball and impacted the various internal organs in the body. Lin Chen immediately felt a faint pain in his body, and failed to break through. Continue. Lin Chen was not discouraged. He absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth from the medium-grade spirit stone in his hand again and charged at the 7th level of the body refining realm again. Puff puff puff. Time passed little by little. Lin Chen charged towards the 7th level of the body refining realm again and again, and at the same time, the true qi in his body became more and more condensed, and he was one step closer to the 7th level of the body refining realm. Buzz! He charged again, and at this moment, a very small part of the true qi finally merged into his internal organs. Lin Chen's face was delighted. As this gap opened, the true qi in Lin Chen's body began to merge into his internal organs frantically, making them harder. After a while, there were two buzzing sounds, and Lin Chen's aura rose, and his cultivation finally broke through from the peak of the 6th level of the body refining realm to the early stage of the 7th level of the qi refining realm. Finally broke through. Lin Chen was ecstatic. After more than 20 days of hard practice, he finally broke through from the late 6th level of the body refining realm to the early 7th level of the body refining realm. After feeling it for a while, the smile on Lin Chen's face became more and more intense. His cultivation breakthrough also made the true qi in his body more condensed, and it was much stronger in quality than when he was in the 6th level of the body refining realm. After the breakthrough, Lin Chen couldn't help but sighed. During the 20 days of retreat and hard training, his spirit had been in a tense state. Now that his martial arts and cultivation had both broken through, all kinds of fatigue suddenly rushed towards him. In a daze, Lin Chen fell asleep on the bed. The next morning, a knock on the door woke Lin Chen up from his deep sleep. After combing his hair a little, Lin Chen opened the door and walked towards the courtyard of the outer gate. Every inner disciple of Tianji Sect has a courtyard. If the owner of the courtyard does not allow, other disciples cannot enter. After Lin Chen said goodbye to Xuelingyun, he left a sign at the gate of the courtyard saying retreat, do not disturb. Therefore, the person who knocked on the door was still outside the courtyard and could not come in. When Lin Chen opened the door, he saw Yuan Fei with a look of admiration. Brother Lin is really hard-working. Since entering the inner gate for the past 20 days, I have come to see you several times, and you have been in retreat. Yuan Fei bowed and said admiringly. Lin Chen smiled. He had been in seclusion for some time and was not really aware of why Yuan Fei came to see him. Chapter 46 Sect Mission. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, Lin Chen, have you made a breakthrough? Yuan Fei looked at Lin Chen with a smile, and suddenly found that Lin Chen's aura had strengthened, and his cultivation had reached the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm. He couldn't help but widen his eyes, feeling full of joy. His face looked in disbelief. TSK, in less than a month, your cultivation level has increased by 2 levels. Lin Chen, I am afraid that no one in the entire inner sect can match your cultivation speed. Yuan Fei sighed. You must know that it only took Lin Chen less than 4 months to advance from the late 4th level of the body refining realm to the current early 7th level of the body refining realm. Now that Lin Chen broke through again, Yuan Fei couldn't help but be shocked. After listening to Yuan Fei's words, Lin Chen smiled slightly and said, Brother Yuan is in the middle of the 9th level of the body refining realm, so he is not slow in his cultivation. Hearing this, Yuan Fei was suddenly shocked. His cultivation level was 2 levels higher than Lin Chen's, but Lin Chen could see his accurate cultivation level in the blink of an eye. In the past 20 days, Yuan Fei took advantage of the reward for being first in the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain. After practicing hard on the best earth spirit pill, his cultivation level also made a slight breakthrough. From the early stage of the 9th level of the body refining realm, he broke through to the 9th level of the body refining realm. Heavy midterm. As for Yuan Fei, who was in the early stages of advancing to the 9th level of the body refining realm, it had only been less than a month since he had broken through again. Such a speed could be considered relatively fast. Originally, Yuan Fei thought that his cultivation had broken through to the middle stage of the 9th level of the body refining realm and that he could hide it, but unexpectedly, Lin Chen could see it in the blink of an eye. You must know that it is difficult for low cultivation warriors to see the accurate cultivation level of high cultivation warriors. After all, the amount of true energy in each body is different, and the level of cultivation that can be perceived is also different. Yuan Fei cupped his hands in admiration and said, What a good eye. During this period of time, I took the best earth spirit pill and broke through to the middle stage of the 9th level of the body refining realm in one fell swoop. Unfortunately, compared with you, it is not worth mentioning. Although he said this, there was a clear look of pride on his face. After all, the higher the cultivation level, the harder it is to break through. Suddenly, Yuan Fei slapped his head and said, I almost forgot about the business. Lin Chen, it has been almost a month since we entered the inner sect. According to the sect's rules, we must complete a sect mission, otherwise we will be punished by the sect. Hearing this, Lin Chen couldn't help but be stunned, and immediately remembered what Aoxin said to him. Each inner sect disciple must complete a sect mission every month. If you fail to complete it as required, you will be punished either by having to complete several sect tasks in the 2nd month, or by being fined hundreds of contribution points. During this period of time, Lin Chen had been practicing hard in seclusion. Lin Chen didn't notice this. If Yuan Fei hadn't come to remind him, he would have lost a large amount of contribution points. Originally, Yuan Fei wanted to invite Lin Chen to do the sect mission together, but during this time Lin Chen had been practicing in seclusion, so Yuan Fei also did the sect mission with other inner sect disciples, but he still came to inform Lin Chen made a sound. The two chatted in the yard for a while, and then Yuan Fei said goodbye and left. From Yuan Fei's mouth, Lin Chen also learned a lot of news. Over the past month, many changes have taken place in the inner sect. Many originally unknown disciples suddenly challenged the disciples on the Tianji ranking, resulting in frequent changes in the Tianji ranking list. In recent days, this has only stopped. In addition, there are Mao Yang, Yi Mingjun and Li Chuan. These three people originally wanted to deal with Lin Chen in the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain, but instead they were taught a lesson by Lin Chen and thrown into the puppets. The three of them were seriously injured, and Li Shan was furious. It is said that he spent a huge price to buy healing pills. And then after a month of recuperation, the injuries of these three people stabilized, but even so, the cultivation level of the three of them has also been greatly reduced. I am afraid that they will not be able to break through the secret realm of Tianluo Mountain and enter the inner gate within a few years. After Yuan Fei left, Lin Chen also carried the stainless steel sword and walked outside inner gate mission hall. Lin Chen walked in slowly. In the center of the mission hall, there are rows of signs filled with missions. The missions vary in difficulty and are divided into 7 stars from left to back. 1-star mission, kill the crown beast. Completing the mission will reward you with 20 contribution points and 100 low-grade spiritual stones. Note, the crown beast is a 3rd-level low-level monster, suitable for 7th-level disciples of the body refining realm. This task of killing the crown beast is most suitable for disciples of the 7th level of the body refining realm. Although Lin Chen's cultivation is at the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm, his strength is much stronger than that of the 7th level warrior of the body refining realm. It was a complete waste of time for him to do this kind of task. Lin Chen shook his head slightly, then turned to look at the 2-star mission. 2-star mission, kill Du Mang. Completing the task will reward you with 30 contribution points and 300 low-grade spiritual stones. Du Mang is a 3rd-level high-level monster, suitable for 9th-level disciples of the body refining realm. 2-star mission, protect the merchant team. The time limit for this mission is 2 months. Upon completion, you will be rewarded with 100 contribution points and 700 low-grade spiritual stones. Note, it is suitable for multiple 9th-level disciples of the body refining realm to go together. 2-star mission, kill. Lin Chen looked at it for a moment and couldn't help but shake his head. Although Du Mang was powerful, he was still much weaker than Lin Chen at this moment. As for the task of protecting the caravan, although this task is good, it is a pity that the time limit is too long. What Lin Chen lacks now is time to improve his strength. How can he waste time on this task? Suddenly, Lin Chen glanced at the bottom of the 2-star mission column, and his eyes suddenly lit up. 2-star mission, kill the fire demon wolf. Completing the mission will reward you with 50 contribution points and 500 low-grade spiritual stones. Note, fire demon wolf. It is a top-level 3rd-level monster with great strength. It has frequently appeared in Qingyo village recently and disturbed the villagers. It is recommended that multiple 9th-level disciples of the body refining realm go together. A top-level 3rd-level monster beast is equivalent to a warrior at the peak of the 9th level of the body refining realm. However, in general, the strength of monster beasts is always stronger than that of warriors. Therefore, this top-level 3rd-level monster beast is almost comparable to several warriors at the peak of the 9th level of the body refining realm. Lin Chen has recently made a breakthrough in his cultivation and his martial arts skills have been perfected. This task of killing the fire demon wolf is just right for him. Qingyo village is located 100 miles south of Tianji Sect, not far from the outer edge of the Malian Mountains. After Lin Chen took down the task card and filed it with the elders, Lin Chen spent 20 low-grade spirit stones in Tianji Sect, rented a Qinggu horse, and ran towards Qingyo village. 2 days later, Qingyo village welcomed a young man with a long sword on his back and wearing white brocade clothes. This young man was Lin Chen. The villagers of Qingyo village looked at the young man curiously. Soon, the village chief of Qingyo village also came over to inquire. The village chief saw the Tianji Sect logo under the corner of the young man's clothes and immediately hurried to Lin Chen. Young man, you are finally here. That monster has been plaguing Qingyo village for half a month. If you don't come, we don't know what to do. The village chief complained with a sad face, obviously troubled by the fire wolf. After the fire wolf appeared, the village chief of Qingyo village immediately reported the situation to Tianji Sect. As one of the 5 major sects in Yannan Territory, Tianji Sect would naturally not let it go, so it issued a task within the sect. However, For the task of killing the fire wolf, a 9th-level disciple of the body refining realm is not an opponent, and may be killed by the fire wolf if he is not careful. If multiple disciples come together, the reward is slightly lower, and each person only gets a dozen contribution points. This is why it was delayed again and again until Lin Chen took on this task. Lin Chen pondered for a moment and nodded, saying, "You'd better not go out in the next few days. Please leave the fire wolf to me." After hearing Lin Chen's words, the village chief was overjoyed and said, "Thank you, young man. If you kill the monster, you will be a great benefactor of our Qingyo village." Soon, under the arrangement of the village chief, Lin Chen settled down in Qingyo village. After all, Lin Chen didn't know when the fire wolf would appear, so he might have to stay here for a few more days. Time passed quickly. 3 days later, on this day, Lin Chen had just finished refining the spiritual energy of a medium-grade spirit stone, and at this moment, he suddenly heard a terrified scream from the village. "The monster is coming! Everyone run!" Ah! As this voice fell, a noisy sound suddenly rang out in the village, and the villagers hid in the house in fear, not daring to come out. Hearing this sound, Lin Chen rushed out of the wooden house with a fine steel sword. Then, at the entrance of the village, a fiery red giant wolf nearly 10 feet tall was staring at the villagers fiercely. It suddenly opened its mouth and pounced forward, biting a villager who was running at the back. The villager was just an ordinary person. If he was bitten by the fire wolf, he would almost certainly die. Seeing this scene, Lin Chen immediately kicked his feet and pounced on the fire wolf like an eagle. Phantom sword. The fine steel sword in his hand was swung quickly, leaving several afterimages in the air, and it hit the fire wolf that was about to pounce on the villagers at a very fast speed. As if sensing the danger, the hair on the back of the fire wolf stood up instantly, and it raised a sharp claw to block Lin Chen's fine steel sword. Bang! A dull sound came, and then the huge body of the fire wolf actually flew back several feet before stopping. And Lin Chen also staggered and took a step back. "Go to the back." Lin Chen glanced at the villager and said in a low voice. At this moment, the villager was still terrified, his body trembling constantly. If Lin Chen hadn't arrived in time, he would have died. When he heard Lin Chen's words, he immediately got up from the ground and ran back in panic. Roar! The prey in its mouth ran away, and the huge eyes of the fire demon wolf lit up green, and then looked at Lin Chen fiercely, digging its 2 front paws gently on the ground, and a low roar came out of its mouth. Lin Chen held the fine steel sword in his hand and looked at the fire demon wolf expressionlessly. Just now, although neither Lin Chen nor the fire demon wolf had the upper hand, Lin Chen actually did not use his full strength. Ah! After a moment of confrontation, the fire demon wolf suddenly rushed forward with its huge body, rushing towards Lin Chen frantically. At the moment when the fire demon wolf moved, Lin Chen's body also moved. He suddenly flashed forward, and at the same time, the sword energy in his body was released, hidden in the fine steel sword, and hit the fire demon wolf. Lin Chen's attack looked ordinary and unremarkable, but as his sword struck out, the fire demon wolf's red hair stood up all over its body, and fear appeared in its eyes. It turned around and wanted to escape. However, Lin Chen had been waiting for it here for several days, so how could he let it escape easily? Puff! Lin Chen's body was like an eagle, pouncing on the fire demon wolf. Almost at the same time, the fine steel sword in Lin Chen's hand pierced the tall body of the fire demon wolf. A slight sound was heard, and a fist-sized hole suddenly appeared on the back of the fire demon wolf. The ground could be seen from the back, penetrating the entire body. More importantly, the violent sword energy carried by the fine steel sword also penetrated into the body of the fire demon wolf with this attack, raging wildly. Awoo! After being hit so hard, the fire demon wolf could no longer bear it. After stumbling forward a few steps, it fell to the ground with a hum and did not move. Chapter 47 3-star Mission. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The monster is dead. Everyone, come out and take a look. The monster has been killed by the young hero. After a moment of silence, the entire Qingyo village suddenly became lively. The villagers in Qingyo village walked out of their rooms one by one with great joy and looked at Lin Chen with extremely grateful expressions in their eyes. Young hero, thank you young hero for eliminating harm in Qingyo village. You are so kind and kind. We in Qingyo village will never forget it. The village chief of Qingyo village walked over from the head of the village tremblingly. With crystal tears in his eyes, he was obviously sincerely grateful to Lin Chen for killing the fire demon wolf. As the village chief finished speaking, the villagers of Qingyo village who followed him all spoke with gratitude. For more powerful warriors, the fire demon wolf may be nothing, but Qingyo village is just a place where ordinary people live. Even if the villagers here are strong enough to compete with ordinary beasts, they are not the fire demon wolf. Opponent, if the fire demon wolf is allowed to continue its rampage, the entire Qingyo village will have to move out or all of them will die here. At this moment, Lin Chen killed the fire demon wolf, and the villagers of Qingyo village were naturally grateful. Lin Chen shook his head, waved his hand and said, "There is no need for this, old man. It is my duty to kill the fire demon wolf. Young hero, you don't know. Killing this monster may be just a sect mission for you, but for us, it is a living bodhisattva descending to earth to save our Qingyo village. Thank you so much. Xia." The village chief of Qingyo village said repeatedly. Thank you, young hero. Thank you, young hero, for rescuing our Qingyo village. Young hero's kindness will be unforgettable for us in Qingyo village. The villagers in Qingyo village spoke one after another. Lin Chen nodded slightly, and immediately, after cutting useful materials from the body of the fire demon wolf, Lin Chen, under the grateful eyes of the villagers of Qingyo village, mounted the green black horse and went straight to Tianji Sect. 2 days later, Tianji Sect's inner mission hall, after Lin Chen handed over the task, he started looking at it again in the task hall. Lin Chen successfully completed the 2-star mission of killing the fire demon wolf in just a few days. The important thing is that Lin Chen has not yet used all his strength in killing the fire demon wolf. This 2-star mission is not Lin Chen's limit yet. 3-star mission, annihilate the Mantis village. The leader of the Mantis village is an early-stage Tiangang realm warrior. He has dozens of warriors above the 7th level of the body refining realm. Crime, the Mantis village wandered into the Qingshan grassland, plundered passing caravans, and killed the warriors. Completion reward, 300 contribution points and 1,000 low-grade spiritual stones. It is recommended that several early Tiangang realm warriors accompany you, or those with intermediate-level Tiangang realm cultivation. The difficulty of this task is not very high. It is written clearly on the task card. Although the leader of the Mantis village is in the early stage of Tiangang realm, he has already practiced the Mantis fist to the level of Dashang. He has killed warriors in the middle stage of Tiangang realm. More importantly, the leader of Mantis village is extremely cunning. Once any disciples from the sect come to destroy them, he will immediately hide. Therefore, the time limit of this mission is actually as long as 2 months. Lin Chen shook his head. This task was obviously not suitable for him. Turning his head, he was about to find a 3-star mission suitable for him. Suddenly, several inner disciples were heard talking next to them. Hey, have you heard that inner disciple Wang Gang broke through to the early stage of Tiangang realm some time ago and confidently accepted a 3-star mission, but died outside? What, Wang Gang is dead? Hiss, although Wang Gang has just broken through to the early stage of Tiangang realm, his strength is more powerful than ordinary warriors in the early stage of Tiangang realm. What kind of mission did he take, and he died outside? The inner disciple who spoke first pointed to a mission card in the 3rd row of the 3-star mission, sighed and said, "This is the mission." The difficulty of this mission is considered to be the highest among the 3-star missions. Kill the butcher Lao Gao. No wonder, no wonder. The butcher Lao Gao is at the early stage of Tiangang realm, but he has been famous in the world for a long time and is extremely powerful. Many warriors of the same level are no match for him. It's a pity, Wang Gang is confident it's too much to accept this mission. A disciple next to him sighed, obviously familiar with the Wang Gang they were talking about. Cruel. Tianling Continent is surrounded by dangers, and warriors die every day. Although Tianji Sect is one of the 5 great sects in the Yannan region, many of its disciples will die outside if they are not strong enough. Lin Chen shook his head slightly, raised his head, and followed the eyes of these warriors. The 3-star mission is to kill Butcher Lao Gao. His crime: Butcher Lao Gao burned, looted, plundered women, killed thousands of civilians, and beheaded no less than 20 warriors. He was a heinous crime. Completing the mission will reward you with 300 contribution points and 1,000 low-grade spirits. Stone. Note: Butcher Lao Gao has already reached the level of mastery in practicing demon knife. It is recommended that several disciples who are in the early stage of Tiangang realm should accompany him, or those who are in the middle stage of Tiangang realm. According to reliable information, Butcher Lao Gao is located at the Chongqing restaurant in Sanshui town, 200 miles east of Tianji Sect. Please disciples who have accepted this mission to rush there as soon as possible. Lin Chen's eyes suddenly lit up. This mission is the same as the mission to annihilate the Mantis village that Lin Chen saw before, and it is quite difficult. But the only difference is that it takes a long time to destroy Mantis village. Maybe you won't see the enemy for a month or two. The mission of killing the Butcher Lao Gao has a clear message. As long as you accept this mission, you can rush to the destination immediately. That's it. Lin Chen reached out and took off the task card. When the inner disciples who were originally talking next to him saw this, their eyes widened and they looked at Lin Chen in disbelief. What's going on? Is this kid going to die? He's only in the early 7th level of the body refining realm, but he dares to accept a 3-star mission. And this mission is one of the more difficult 3-star missions. He's either a fool or too confident. He might die outside like Wang Gang. The inner disciples shook their heads, looking at Lin Chen, who was holding the mission card and handing over the mission to the elders. Lin Chen, are you sure you want to accept this mission? The elder of the mission hall frowned slightly and looked at Lin Chen and said. Sure. Lin Chen nodded slightly. Hearing this, the elder frowned even more and said, Lin Chen, you have to understand that this is a 3-star mission. Even disciples in the early stage of Tiangang realm may not be able to complete it. As for you, I see that your aura has just stabilized. You should have just broken through to the early stage of the 7th level of the refining body realm. Lin Chen, it's not too late to give up now. I suggest you do the 1-star and 2-star missions first. Lin Chen knew the good intentions of the elder, but he knew his strength. He had mastered the 3rd level of the ancient bronze refining body art, the broken copper rebirth. Lin Chen's punch now has a huge force of 15,000 pounds, which is difficult for even a warrior in the early stage of the Tiangang realm to resist. Seeing that Lin Chen stopped talking, the elder sighed softly, recorded the mission, and said, Lin Chen, if you can't complete it, you can return to cancel the mission. But, if you haven't returned to the sect in 3 months, it will be considered a mission failure, that the mission failed, and most of the disciples who went to do the mission may have died outside. Thank you, elder. After Lin Chen put away the mission card, he bowed slightly and turned to walk towards the outer gate. After renting a Qinggu horse again, Lin Chen went straight to Sanshui town, east of Tianji Sect. This place is 200 miles away from Sanshui town. According to the speed of Qinggu horse running 60 miles a day, it can be reached in 4 days at most. Time passed quickly. Lin Chen traveled during the day and practiced true qi at night. 3 days later, this is a small town. Warriors in the body refining realm can be seen everywhere, but warriors in the Tiangang realm are relatively rare. Obviously, there are no overly powerful warriors in Sanshui town. Lin Chen rode Qinggu horse and walked slowly into Sanshui town. Chongqing restaurant is located on the most prosperous central street in Sanshui town. It is the largest restaurant in Sanshui town. Many warriors like to dine in this restaurant. Lin Chen jumped off the Qinggu horse. Seeing this, the waiter of Chongqing restaurant immediately took the Qinggu horse rope from Lin Chen's hand with a smile and said respectfully, Please come in, sir, please come in, sir. Nodding slightly, Lin Chen walked slowly into Chongqing restaurant. It was noon at this moment, and the private rooms in the restaurant were already full. Lin Chen had to sit in a more remote position under the arrangement of the waiter. The food came up quickly, and while Lin Chen was eating, he observed the warriors with cultivation above the Tiangang realm on the first floor. There was only one warrior with cultivation above the Tiangang realm on the first floor, sitting alone in a window seat. He looked to be about 27 years old, which did not match the butcher Lao Gao in the mission introduction. Moreover, this warrior left from here after finishing his meal. It was obvious that he was passing through here and had a casual meal at the Chongqing restaurant. Shaking his head slightly, Lin Chen stopped observing and ate wholeheartedly. The food in the Chongqing restaurant was very delicious, and Lin Chen had not had a proper meal during this period, so he ate for half an hour. However, just as Lin Chen had just finished this meal, suddenly, a sharp shout came from upstairs. "Hey, kid, do you think you can kill me, Butcher Gao?" As the voice fell, a dull sound of fighting came. At the same time, two figures jumped down from the building and landed at the gate of Chongqing restaurant. The two warriors who landed at the gate of Chongqing restaurant, one looked about 40 years old, with evil spirit all over his body, holding a big knife in his hand. The other warrior was a warrior in his early 20s, with a proud look on his face. Both warriors were in the early stage of Tiangang realm. Butcher Gao, it turned out to be Butcher Gao. The warriors around shouted in fear, as if they had seen the most terrifying person in the world, and they all stepped back a few steps, their faces pale. "Hey!" Seeing the warriors around retreat, the middle-aged man with a knife chuckled and said in a deep voice, "Young man, if you dare to catch the attention of Butcher Gao, you don't have to go back." The warrior with the knife was Lin Chen's target, Butcher Gao. As for the other person, "Humph, Butcher Lao Gao, you have committed many evil deeds, including killing, burning, looting, and raping women. You deserve to die. Today, I, Wang Lin, an inner disciple of Tianling Valley, will enforce justice and kill you, the evildoer," said the young man who called himself Wang Lin with a righteous look on his face, inner disciple of Tianling Valley. Chapter 48, Butcher Lao Gao. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. In Yannan Territory, many families and forces will negotiate with the major sects and issue tasks whenever they encounter problems that they cannot solve. However, in general, in order not to offend other sects, they usually issue a task to multiple sects at the same time, and the task that Lin Chen took to kill the Butcher Lao Gao was obviously not only issued in Tianji Sect, but also in other major sects in Yannan Territory such as Tianling Valley. Therefore, there is the scene of the confrontation between the inner sect disciple of Tianling Valley and the Butcher Lao Gao in front of him. "He, you. I, the Butcher Lao Gao, have been wandering in the world. Many sects have issued tasks and rewards for me, but those inner sect disciples who came to hunt me down have all become souls under my knife. Boy, you are still a little naive." The Butcher Lao Gao smiled and chopped down the inner sect disciple Wang Lin of Tianling Valley with the big knife in his hand. "Humph." Wang Lin snorted coldly, and with a clang, the sword behind him was pulled out. At the same time, the long sword in his hand quickly struck forward, blowing a series of whistling winds, with a terrifying momentum. Seeing this, the disciples around him shouted one by one. What a strong momentum, worthy of being an inner disciple of a large sect. With such a strong momentum, the Butcher Lao Gao is dead now. Wang Lin was able to take on the task of killing the Butcher Lao Gao alone with his cultivation in the early stage of Tiangang realm. He was either a genius in the inner sect or a person who was overconfident, but it was obvious that Wang Lin was an inner disciple who belonged to the ranks of geniuses. However, the sword he struck fell into Lin Chen's eyes, but Lin Chen shook his head slightly. The footsteps are erratic and the sword speed is slow. Wang Lin may have good talent, but his sword skills are not solid. Lin Chen was a martial arts master in his previous life and had his own unique insights into the way of martial arts. At this moment, when he saw the sword skills displayed by Wang Lin, he immediately saw its flaws. "Oh, then in your opinion, this Wang Lin is no match for Butcher Gao?" A person next to Lin Chen heard his words and said sarcastically, after saying that, he muttered, "You dare to talk here at the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm, you really don't know how to live or die." Hearing this person's words, Lin Chen was not annoyed, and smiled faintly. If Wang Lin goes back to practice swordsmanship for a few more months, it will be no problem to kill Butcher Gao. The man opened his mouth and wanted to refute, but then he thought that once the result came out, he would naturally be able to shut Lin Chen's mouth and let him know that facts speak louder than words. At the entrance of the restaurant, bang! Wang Lin's long sword and Butcher Gao's broadsword collided with each other, flashing sparks, and then both of them stepped back a few steps, their faces unchanged. Hee, kid, you have some strength, but if you only have this strength, I'm afraid you will die under my broadsword. Butcher Gao smiled and spoke sarcastically. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, and he snorted coldly, this strength is enough to kill you. After saying that, he took 2 steps forward with a long sword in his hand. The long sword in his hand drew a series of radiances in the air, and his aura suddenly surged. It was obvious that he had used some kind of martial arts. The warriors around him saw this and immediately stepped back several steps, looking at Wang Lin with pale faces. Butcher Lao Gao was fearless. After a low laugh, he chopped down the big knife in his hand. As he chopped down, a trace of black light appeared on the blade. Ghost Demon Knife. Butcher Lao Gao's unique skill, Ghost Demon Knife. As soon as his knife appeared, the shocking aura immediately suppressed Wang Lin, causing the latter's face to change several times. Obviously, he did not expect Butcher Lao Gao's strength to be so strong. The next moment, the weapons of both sides attacked together. However, the situation was completely one-sided. As the attack landed, Wang Lin's face suddenly changed, and his body retreated dozens of steps, and he spat out a mouthful of blood with a pale face. Obviously, this knife had already seriously injured him, but the Butcher Lao Gao stood firmly in place, his face did not change at all. Boy, die! Seeing Wang Lin being cut back, the Butcher Lao Gao's eyes lit up, roared, and ran forward, while the big knife in his hand chopped down Wang Lin in front of him. Ah! No! Wang Lin's face suddenly became horrified, and he screamed miserably, and was chopped in half by the Butcher Lao Gao on the spot. In 2 rounds, Wang Lin, the genius disciple of the inner sect of Tianling Valley, was easily chopped in half by the Butcher Lao Gao, which further highlighted the powerful, bloodthirsty, and cruel side of the Butcher Lao Gao. But the Butcher Lao Gao who killed Wang Lin laughed lowly, strode forward, and searched Wang Lin's body. The disciples around him retreated in fear. They thought Wang Lin could kill Butcher Gao, but Wang Lin couldn't even block Butcher Gao's blow. He was cut in half on the spot and died tragically. In the crowd, the warrior who had ridiculed Lin Chen for being ignorant turned pale and suddenly remembered Lin Chen's words. He turned his head and found that Lin Chen had already walked into the crowd. You are worthy of being Butcher Gao. You kill people like crazy. Just as Butcher Gao finished looting Wang Lin's money and was about to leave, a voice suddenly rang out in the crowd. Who? Butcher Gao turned his head suddenly and looked at the crowd with sharp eyes. The one who takes your head. As the voice fell, Lin Chen's figure slowly walked out of the crowd. After hearing this, he looked at Lin Chen again. Butcher Lao Gao was stunned, then burst into laughter, pointed at Lin Chen with one hand and said, You? What did you say just now? You want my head? Boy, did you get kicked in the head by a donkey, or was it stuck by a door? You dare to make such a bold statement at the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm. You are looking for death. Butcher Lao Gao laughed loudly, and then continued, Boy, but if you dare to catch the attention of me, Butcher Lao Gao, I don't care which sect's genius disciple you are, you will die here today. I'm lucky today. There are actually 2 idiots giving me spirit stones. Lin Chen smiled lightly and said, I also think I'm lucky today. If I kill you, I can get a lot of spirit stones. Butcher Lao Gao's face sank, and he said with a somewhat unsightly face, Boy, since you want to die so much, then I will fulfill your wish. As he said, he raised the big knife in his hand and chopped it at Lin Chen. Dang! The next moment, the Butcher Lao Gao's sword fell on Lin Chen, but Lin Chen stood firmly in place, looking at him with a faint smile on his face. His sword did not even break Lin Chen's defense. This. Butcher Lao Gao retracted his sword, his face a little surprised. Originally, he thought that Lin Chen was only in the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm, and he could kill Lin Chen with a casual sword, but Lin Chen stood still and easily took his sword. Even if it was a casual sword, other 7th level warriors in the body refining realm would be split in half and die on the spot. The warriors around also exclaimed, and they didn't expect Lin Chen to have some skills to take the blow of the butcher Lao Gao. It's interesting, but boy, you are only in the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm. Can you be more powerful than Wang Lin? Butcher Lao Gao quickly came to his senses, laughed softly, and chopped down the sword in his hand again. This time, he used 80% of his true qi. Obviously, in his eyes, Lin Chen might have some strength, but he was afraid that he was not as good as Wang Lin. He used 80% of his true qi to deal with Lin Chen, which was a gift to Lin Chen. Dang. The sound of metal clashing rang out again, then he saw that Lin Chen was glowing with bronze light, and he looked at Butcher Gao with a smile on his face. The latter's big knife fell on Lin Chen's shoulder. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get any further. How is it possible? Butcher Gao's eyes widened, looking at Lin Chen in disbelief. He used 80% of his true qi, but still couldn't break Lin Chen's defense. Lin Chen's face was indifferent. The 3rd level of the ancient bronze body refining art, broken copper rebirth, was perfected. Lin Chen's fist force now not only reached 15,000 kilograms, but also greatly increased his defense. The general Tiangang realm initial stage warriors could not break his defense at all. Humph, it seems that I underestimated you. Butcher Gao's face was a little gloomy, and he raised the big knife in his hand and chopped at Lin Chen again. Lin Chen's body shook, and the bronze body refining technique was performed. The bronze light on his body became more dazzling, like a golden Buddha. Dang. Butcher Lao Gao's expression was a little solemn. This time, he fully opened his inner qi, gathered on the big knife in his hand, and hit Lin Chen directly. With the attack of this knife, Lin Chen's body couldn't help but retreat a few steps. Butcher Lao Gao's big knife also cut into a trace of the copper energy on Lin Chen's body, but still failed to attack Lin Chen. Seeing this, Lin Chen's face showed a little surprise. What a pure true qi, what kind of skills does this Butcher Lao Gao practice, and there is such a pure true qi in his body. Originally, Lin Chen had expected that under the attack of an ordinary Tiangang realm warrior in the early stage, although he could repel him, he would definitely not hurt Lin Chen, but in the attack just now, Lin Chen felt a strong and pure qi from the Butcher Lao Gao's sword, and a huge force directly shook him away. The Butcher Lao Gao's sword even cut a hole in his copper energy. Although Lin Chen was surprised at the purity of the qi in the Butcher Lao Gao's body, the latter was more surprised at Lin Chen's strength. He used all his qi, but he couldn't do anything to Lin Chen, and when he fought with Wang Lin just now, he made Wang Lin embarrassed with such a blow. The warriors around were even more shocked, staring at Lin Chen with eyes wide open in disbelief, a warrior in the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm actually took on 3 attacks from the Butcher Lao Gao in succession. The Butcher Lao Gao was a warrior in the early stage of the Tiangang realm, and just now, he also killed a genius disciple of the inner sect of the Tianling Valley of the same level. You have attacked 3 times, now it's my turn to attack. Lin Chen said calmly, and at the same time, he suddenly rushed forward like an eagle. He was glowing with bronze light, and stretched out his fist, punching the Butcher Lao Gao. Butcher Lao Gao's eyes were stern, and he no longer looked down on him, and chopped down Lin Chen with his sword with all his strength. Ghost Demon Knife. Martial arts were used again. Boy, you surprised me. You have cultivated the body refining technique to such a level when you are only at the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm. You must be a genius inner disciple of a sect. But it's useless now. You will still die under my sword. Butcher Lao Gao roared, obviously having seen that Lin Chen had practiced some powerful body refining technique. Chapter 49, Horrible Things. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Butcher Lao Gao used all his strength in this attack. Not only did he release all his internal energy, but he also used his unique skill, the Ghost Demon Knife. However, just when his attack was about to fall on Lin Chen suddenly kicked his feet and turned his body abruptly. Then, he punched Butcher Lao Gao in the chest, but at the same time, Butcher Lao Gao's big knife also attacked Lin Chen's left shoulder, bang. Puff. The two sounds sounded almost at the same time. The next moment, Butcher Lao Gao's face turned pale in an instant, and blood spurted out of his mouth. His body was actually hit by Lin Chen's punch and directly hit into the Chongqing restaurant, knocking down a large number of tables and chairs, and Lin Chen's face also changed slightly, and his body also retreated dozens of steps. But compared to Butcher Lao Gao, he was much better, steady on the upper hand. The warriors around were all stunned, looking at Lin Chen who had stabilized his body in shock. What did they see? A warrior in the early 7th level of the physical training realm actually suppressed the Butcher Lao Gao in the early stage of the Tiangang realm. Shocking. You should know that the Butcher Lao Gao's cultivation is not only several levels higher than Lin Chen, but also has rich practical experience and extremely powerful strength. Wang Lin, the genius disciple of the inner sect of Tianling Valley, was killed by him with 2 swords. But at this moment, he was suppressed by a warrior in the early 7th level of the physical training realm. Too shocking. Before these warriors woke up from the shock, Lin Chen, who had stabilized his body, jumped up from the spot and rushed into the Chongqing Inn. Many warriors took 2 steps forward, wanting to see the situation inside the Chongqing Inn clearly. However, as soon as they walked over, they heard the Butcher Lao Gao's fierce shout from inside. Little brother, stop it. Spare my life, I am willing to give you all my property." That the Butcher Lao Gao's voice was slightly trembling, and he was obviously scared by Lin Chen's punch. However, the warriors around heard this voice and were even more stunned. The arrogant, famous Butcher Lao Gao actually begged for mercy. Then, Lin Chen's indifferent voice came from Chongqing Inn. "If I had known this, why did I do it in the first place? When you killed other warriors, did you spare their lives? When you robbed money, did you ever think about their future fate?" Lin Chen shook his head slightly, raised his fist, and punched the Butcher Lao Gao. Seeing this, the Butcher Lao Gao immediately roared in anger, "Asshole! Boy, if I don't die today, I will chase you to the ends of the earth in the future. You will die today," Lin Chen said in a low voice. The Butcher Lao Gao let out a shrill scream, raised his big knife, and slashed at Lin Chen. However, although his knife was powerful, it was still suppressed by Lin Chen's 15,000 gene fist. Bang 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 bang. In Chongqing Inn, the sound of fists and big knives intersecting continued to be heard. Every time the sound rang out, many warriors outside would feel a chill in their hearts, and their heartbeats would accelerate. What kind of battle would be so fierce, and what kind of genius could cross several levels and suppress the experienced warriors in the early stage of Tiangang realm? Bang! At this moment, a sound came from Chongqing Inn again, but this sound was more dull than the previous continuous intersecting sounds, as if a fist was hitting the body, and as this dull sound came out, a burly figure flew out of the inn. At the same time, Lin Chen's figure flashed, and he appeared almost right behind the burly figure. He raised his fist and punched several times in succession. With a muffled hum, Butcher Lao Gao only felt a huge force falling on him, and these huge forces passed through his body and hit his internal organs directly. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out. Butcher Lao Gao widened his eyes, looked at Lin Chen unwillingly, and his body fell heavily to the ground. Dead. The warriors around looked at the Butcher Gao who had fallen to the ground in horror, and couldn't help but step back a few steps. Lin Chen shook his head slightly, raised his sword, took off the Butcher Gao's head, wrapped it with a piece of cloth, and threw it into a ring. Then, his soul power spread out and scanned the Butcher Gao's body. Butcher Gao has been doing murder and robbery for the past few years, and he must have gained a lot of money. However, a warrior like him who travels the world knows very well that wealth cannot be exposed, so he will definitely not put these financial things in the ring like other warriors. And if a sect disciple accepts this kind of task, as long as he completes it and kills the target, then the target's financial belonging to this disciple, and the sect will not interfere. If the disciple is lucky, he kills a thief with a huge fortune, then maybe the disciple's wealth will skyrocket instantly, and this Butcher Gao, who killed so many warriors, must have a lot of financial. The soul power swept the Butcher Lao Gao's body from head to toe. Suddenly, Lin Chen's eyes lit up. "Well, this is a low-grade storage belt." Take a breath of cold air. Lin Chen took off the belt from the butcher Lao Gao with a look of surprise. The belt is gray and does not look strange at all, but Lin Chen's soul power is so strong that he can see the extraordinary features of this belt after just one sweep. It's actually a low-grade storage belt. This butcher Lao Gao has some skills. Storage belts, like storage spirit rings, are rare space storage treasures. In terms of value, a low-grade storage belt is almost comparable to a low-grade storage spirit ring, and the storage belt on butcher Lao Gao is probably obtained by killing a genius inner disciple of a sect. Otherwise, with his wealth, he might not be able to afford one even if he spent more than 10 years, but it is now in Lin Chen's hands. Lin Chen's face showed a slight joy, and after slowly exhaling, his soul power probed into the storage belt. Buzz, the space was slightly turbulent, and Lin Chen's soul power easily broke through the remaining thoughts of butcher Lao Gao and scanned the contents of the storage belt. Lin Chen's mind immediately reflected the scene in the space, a group of low-grade spirit stones filled with spiritual energy. The number is estimated to be nearly 40,000. More than 10 secret books, several bottles of various elixirs. After putting away the low-grade storage belt, Lin Chen smiled faintly. The average Tiangang realm warrior carries at most 10,000 low-grade spirit stones, and this butcher Lao Gao has killed many warriors, so he naturally has many more spirit stones. Killing a big thief can actually get so many spirit stones, no wonder so many disciples risk their lives to take on such a task of killing a big thief. Lin Chen smiled faintly and was about to turn around and leave, but at this time, the shopkeeper of Chongqing rushed to Lin Chen with a sad face. "Young man, Mayan was beaten into this state by you, and several people were injured. How can I live?" The shopkeeper of Chongqing is just an ordinary person, but he is also very shrewd. Seeing that Lin Chen has a good heart, he dared to speak to Lin Chen. Hearing this, Lin Chen glanced inside the Chongqing Inn, then pondered for a moment, took out a ring, and said, "There are 300 low-grade spirit stones in it, 200 of which are used as the cost of the injured, and the other 100 are enough to buy your inn. But remember, if you dare to take one more cent, I will take your head." Just now, in the battle with the butcher Lao Gao, Chongqing Inn and many warriors were affected. The innkeeper nodded repeatedly and took the ring carefully. Seeing this, Lin Chen led the Qinggu horse and walked slowly in Xianxia town. At this moment, it is close to the end of the year. Every household is buying New Year's goods, hanging lights and decorations, and it is quite lively. Lin Chen was stunned and thought, it's the end of the year, and the family's end-of-year clan competition is about to be held. He raised his head and looked to the east. Faintly, you can still see the outline of a huge city hundreds of miles away. In the Tianling Continent, a huge city is built at a certain distance. Many cities are generally built along the mountains where the most monsters appear, in order to suppress the monsters in these mountains and prevent them from going out to harm the world. And hundreds of miles away from here, a majestic city is being built, Wu City. If it weren't for the mission in Xianxia town, I'm afraid Lin Chen would have forgotten that he had to return to the family for the annual sacrifice at the end of the year, and this Wu City Lin family is exactly the family that Lin Chen belongs to. Lin Chen is the illegitimate son of the head of the Lin family. Although he is an illegitimate son and his talent is also ordinary, his father Lin Xiaotian still uses the family relationship to send him to the Tianji Sect, and at the end of each year, the Lin family's disciples who go out will return to the family for the annual sacrifice and at the same time have an internal family competition. Last year's end-of-year clan competition, Lin Chen also participated, but as soon as he played in the first round, he was suppressed by other Lin family children and became a joke of the Lin family. Lin Chen pondered for a moment. Now it doesn't take much time to return to the family. As long as he returns to hand over this task within 3 months, there will be nothing to worry about. After thinking it over, Lin Chen turned his Qinggu horse and headed eastwards towards Wu City. Xianxia town is close to the Malian mountains. Lin Chen didn't walk far before he saw many body-refining warriors coming out of the Malian mountains. However, these warriors were all alert when they saw Lin Chen. After running all the way, 2 days later, Lin Chen came to a hilly area. In the past 2 days, Lin Chen has been walking along the Malian mountains. The Malian mountains almost span the entire Yannan region. There are countless monsters in it. In the depths of the Malian Mountains, there are even monsters comparable to the Zhendao realm. After running for 2 consecutive days, even though Lin Chen's true energy was strong, he couldn't help feeling exhausted at this moment. The Qingwu horse under his crotch was even more tired and panting. Lin Chen shook his head and thought, it seems that I have to buy a better horse. Otherwise, if I waste time on the road when doing tasks in the future, it will be too uneconomical. Qingwu horses are just ordinary horses in Tianling Continent. The better ones include Xianxia and Zulingju. The best horses can travel 1,000 miles a day, but Qingwu horses can only travel 200 miles after running for 2 days, and they are still exhausted. After getting off the Qingwu horse, Lin Chen planned to rest on this hill for a night and go to Zhenwu City tomorrow. Holding a medium-grade spirit stone in his hand, Lin Chen sat cross-legged and practiced silently. At night, the moonlight tilted down and illuminated the entire earth. In the middle of the night, just when Lin Chen was practicing, the earth suddenly trembled, as if there was an earthquake. Lin Chen suddenly opened his eyes, picked up the fine steel sword and stood up. The Qingwu horse on the side suddenly trembled, looking extremely terrified, as if something terrible was about to come. Chapter 50, Razor Claw Beast. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The earth was shaking more and more violently, and gradually, waves of crazy beast roars came from a dense forest in the north. Ah! Roar! Hiss! Various monsters roared. Along with the roars of these monsters, more than 10 figures rushed out from a dense forest in the north and rushed towards Lin Chen. The lowest of these 10 figures was above the 8th level of the body refining realm. Each of them carried a huge package on his back, and it was obvious that they had just come out of the Malian Mountains. However, at this moment, these 10 people were in a mess, and they fled madly as if they were running for their lives. Hurry, hurry! Those monsters are catching up! A warrior roared in panic. As soon as his voice fell, a miserable scream came from behind him. Ah! Then he saw that the slowest warrior was pounced on by a monster and torn in half on the spot a few dozen meters behind him. The others were shocked and fled even more frantically. The man running in the front was only a few thousand meters away from Lin Chen. When he saw the Qingwu horse beside Lin Chen, he suddenly shouted, "Boy, leave the Qingwu horse for me." That with a Qingwu horse riding, the efficiency of escaping is naturally much faster, and the chance of survival is also greater. Hearing this man's words, Lin Chen jumped on the back of the Qingwu horse without saying a word, and drove the Qingwu horse to the south. Seeing Lin Chen leave directly, the warrior couldn't help but tremble with anger. His cultivation was the peak of the 9th level of the body refining realm. Originally, he thought that under his roar, although Lin Chen might not necessarily stop, he would at least be slow for a while, and then take advantage of this slow time. He would rush to Lin Chen, then chop him with a knife, and then snatch the Qingwu horse. Who knew that after hearing his words, Lin Chen rode the Qingwu horse without hesitation and left directly. Just when this warrior was angry with Lin Chen, he saw Lin Chen suddenly stopped, standing on a hill and looking ahead silently. Seeing this, the warrior's face lit up, and he secretly hated that he must torture Lin Chen severely and then let him die. However, before the smile on his face bloomed, he saw many monsters rushing towards Lin Chen thousands of meters away. Damn it! The warrior's face changed drastically, but he did not dare to stop, but rushed directly to a place not far from Lin Chen. The other warriors also rushed to the hill one by one, looking at the various monsters rushing around with ugly faces. We are surrounded. A young man in the early 8th level of the body refining realm cried and looked at the many monsters around him in fear. Around Lin Chen and others, there were large groups of monsters, of all kinds, most of which were 2nd level or 3rd level monsters. If this level of monster was alone, they, the body refining realm warriors, would naturally not be afraid, but at this moment, there were at least hundreds of monsters surrounding them. If they rushed forward, they would be finished. Lin Chen stood in place, looking at the monsters running around, without saying a word. Humph. The warrior who rushed to Lin Chen first snorted coldly, as if he was still concerned about Lin Chen not listening to him and stopping. "Boy, I'll settle with you later," that he said in a low voice. "Come with me, let's rush out together." Hearing this, Lin Chen glanced at the warrior. This warrior was at the peak of the 9th level of the body refining realm, the highest among the crowd. As soon as he said this, he was immediately agreed by other warriors. Now there are monsters everywhere. Only by working together and rushing out of the many monsters can there be a chance to survive. Wait. At this moment, Lin Chen suddenly opened his mouth and said, "If you go now, you will definitely die." Hearing this, the faces of these warriors turned slightly pale. At this moment, they didn't care that Lin Chen's cultivation was lower than theirs. A warrior hurriedly said, "Brother, what do you mean?" Except for the warrior at the peak of the 9th level of the body refining realm, the rest of the people turned their heads and looked at Lin Chen eagerly. Lin Chen nodded slightly, raised his hand and pointed at a particularly large monster outside the monster group. This monster was 10 feet tall, with extremely sharp claws. More importantly, the aura on its body was much stronger than any other monster around. Level 4 low-level sharp claw beast. Looking in the direction of Lin Chen's hand, everyone immediately took a breath of cold air. The warrior at the peak of the 9th level of the body refining realm also changed color slightly. Level 4 monsters are comparable to Tiangang realm warriors. If they really rushed out, once the sharp claw beast attacked them, they would definitely be wiped out. The aura of this sharp claw beast is looming, and it is obvious that it has just broken through to the level 4 low-level monster not long ago. And these level 2 and 3 monsters surrounding us should also be attracted by this sharp claw beast. If we kill this sharp claw beast, then the other monsters will naturally retreat, and the chance of survival will be much greater. Lin Chen spoke slowly. If Lin Chen rushed in alone, he would probably die at the hands of other monsters before he even encountered this low-level 4th level sharp claw beast, but if there were more than 10 people to help, it might not be impossible to kill the sharp claw beast. Therefore, Lin Chen stopped the actions of more than 10 people. After listening to Lin Chen's analysis, the warrior at the peak of the 9th level of the body refining realm snorted and said, "It's easy to say, but how can a low-level 4th level monster be killed so easily?" Lin Chen said without changing his face, "We have no choice." While he was talking, the monsters around him had already rushed over. All the warriors were tensed up. When they saw these monsters charging towards them, they all displayed their martial arts skills and started fighting with roars. A warrior at the early stage of the 9th level of the body refining realm said anxiously while killing the surrounding monster beasts, "This brother is right, we only have a chance to survive if we kill the sharp-clawed beasts. Let's go together." "Good. Fight!" These warriors roared low and formed a circle, with Lin Chen standing at the end. The warrior who was at the peak of the 9th level of the body refining realm hesitated slightly. Lin Chen disrupted his chance, which made him feel even more unhappy. However, if he separated from the others and acted alone, he would definitely die. "Humph, I killed the sharp claw beast in a while, boy, I have to kill you." He secretly hated it in his heart, and after glaring at Lin Chen, he also walked into the circle. Immediately, everyone was killing the monsters and heading towards the sharp-clawed beasts. Roar! Ouch! These monster beasts seemed to be endless, killing one, and another one rushed up, under the crazy attack of the monsters. Even though this group of warriors often hang out outside the Malian mountains and have rich fighting experience, several people still died. Ah! A warrior at the late 8th level of the body refining realm was caught by a 3rd-level high-level monster Black Panther without paying attention. He fell to the ground and died on the spot. The rest of the warriors were startled and spontaneously closed their circle, thus avoiding the annihilation of the whole army. When Lin Chen and others reached the edge of the monster, only 5 of the original dozen warriors were left. Except for Lin Chen, the other 5 were all at the peak of the 8th level of the body refining realm or above. Everyone was slightly surprised that Lin Chen, a warrior at the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm, could actually hold on until now. But the situation was critical at the moment, so I didn't think much about it. For a time, the entire hill was roaring, and the pungent blood was even more intense. This blood also aroused the monster's madness even more. "The sharp-clawed beast is right in front." A warrior roared, looking frightened. "Ho ho ho!" Everyone looked in the direction of the warrior and happened to see the huge sharp claw beast with dark hair all over its body. The sharp claw beast raised its sharp claws, shining in the moonlight, and then clawed at Lin Chen and others. Superior, Lin Chen shouted deeply, moved his steps, and stabbed towards the sharp-clawed beast. Seeing this, the other warriors attacked the sharp-claw beast from different directions. Wind fist. Throat-sealing palm. Whirlwind. Genre. For a moment, the hills roared continuously, and various martial arts were used in an instant, attacking the sharp-claw beast one after another. Bang bang bang, a dull voice came, and the sharp-claw beast's huge body took a few steps back, but it was unscathed. After all, this sharp-clawed beast is a 4th-level low-level monster, comparable to a warrior in the early Tiangang realm. It not only has strong attacks, but also has extremely high defense. Roar. However, although their attack failed to hurt the sharp-clawed beast, it angered the latter. It roared and struck down a sharp claw at a warrior at the 8th level of the body refining realm. Zhan Sun. The warrior was shocked. He immediately raised the sword in his hand and slashed at the sharp-clawed beast. However, as soon as he raised his sword, the sharp-claw beast's attack fell on him. With a pop, the warrior's body was cut into 2 parts by the claws on the spot, and he died on the spot. It's over, it's over. We're dead. The remaining warriors had earth-colored faces. The 4th-level low-level monsters were simply not something that the body-refining realm warriors could deal with. With 3 of them, a warrior at the 9th level of the body-refining realm and a warrior at the early 7th level of the body-refining realm, they successfully killed the sharp-clawed beast. The probability is slim. Just when the 3 warriors were frightened, they suddenly saw Lin Chen jump up and pounce towards the sharp-clawed beast like an eagle. At the same time, the stainless steel sword in his hand thrust out. Seeing this, the 3 warriors shook their heads. The warriors at the 8th level of the body refining realm were all grabbed to death by the sharp claw beast. Lin Chen was only at the early stage of the 7th level of the body refining realm. Wasn't he looking for death? But at the next moment, wisps of sword power surged out of Lin Chen's body. At the same time, an extremely fierce aura erupted from the fine steel sword in his hand, and the sword thrust out seemed to cut through the void. The sharp claw beast's hair stood up instantly, and a crisis arose from the bottom of its heart. It raised its claws, as if it was very afraid of Lin Chen's attack, and wanted to resist Lin Chen's attack. Boom. Lin Chen's stainless steel sword struck the sharp claw of the sharp claw beast, and there was a metallic clashing sound. Immediately afterwards, the sharp claws of the sharp-clawed beast were cut down by Lin Chen's sword. The severe pain caused the sharp-clawed beast to let out a mournful roar. Good opportunity. The other 3 warriors were stunned. Although they didn't know how Lin Chen injured the sharp-clawed beast, this was undoubtedly a good opportunity to kill the sharp-clawed beast. Wind fist. Throat-sealing palm. Whirlwind. The 3 people's eyes lit up, and they each used their martial arts skills again, hoping to kill the sharp-clawed beast in one fell swoop. Attacks hit the sharp-claw beast one after another, and several wounds were added to the sharp-claw beast's body, causing it to roar again and again. Die. The faces of the 3 people were ecstatic. It was obvious that the sharp-clawed beast was about to lose its support. If the sharp-clawed beast died, then they would make a lot of money. You must know that the 4th-level low-level monster is full of treasures, and it is very likely that there are still some treasures in its body. Conceives the inner elixir. On the side, Lin Chen also held a stainless steel sword and stabbed at the sharp claw beast again.